Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Vince, and this is my friend Vaf.
Hey everybody.
You are watching Game and Laugh, and today we're going to go back and play Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Now, this game comes out in about a week's time. We had a previous video where we actually played through a bit of Final Fantasy VII, the original game from 1997. Vaf was giving some amazing commentary about how much he's loved the game and how much he's finished the game as well, how many times he finished the game. So I'll pass it on to him. This is his first time really experiencing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Hey everybody, welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So we just did a short 10-minute playthrough of the beginning of Final Fantasy VII, the original game, the digital version on PS4, and now we are jumping into the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo for PlayStation 4. Give us a small entree into what we can expect in a week or two's time when the full title releases for PS4. So this is my first time actually going through the demo version. I've seen a few minutes of YouTube footage of it, but I haven't actually played through it or sat in with a friend who's playing through it like Vince is doing right now. So as a veteran of the original game, someone who has played and beaten it multiple times, as I'm sure many of you have as well, I'm really excited about this game. I've been looking forward to it for years, just like many of you probably have. And more than anything, I'm just really excited to see how the developers have tweaked it. What have they added or taken away from the story? How has the gameplay been modified? How have the art styles and the textures changed? Does Midgar look even more, dystopian and steampunk than it did in the original game? And what are the battles like? Obviously the original was a classic turn-based RPG. How have the developers added on to that engine, to that battle system for the remake? So these are all just things that I'm keeping in mind as I watch Vince play. I can already say right off the bat that this opening cutscene is far more detailed and longer than the original.
Yeah. Whereas
the original just cut from Eris kneeling to walking through a busy New York-style city. This one already shows her dropping flowers, picking them up, as we pan out to the corrupt city of Midgar.
I mean, this just looks phenomenal, man. It's got a real harkening back to the original Final Fantasy VII. You've got the green hue or the green motif that just permeates through the city. Obviously representing... What was that thing that Mother was made of again?
With the what? With the what, sorry?
Mother? What was she made of again? It was like this ethereal earth thing.
Oh, okay. Mother, like the video game Mother?
No, like Sephiroth's mother.
Oh. No idea.
Genova, what was Genova made of?
Oh, Genova. Oh, yeah. She's made of, like some cells, like alien cells. She's actually, if spoilers for anyone who's never played the game, but Genova is actually an alien from outer space, is what you find out later. She was not one of the original Cetra or Ancients, as Sephiroth would believe.
Alright, dude, we're getting into it. So this is going to be the updated battle scheme. In the previous video, Vaffa was talking about the old battle scheme and how it worked. Which still holds up to this day. Like, it's a fantastic way to play the game.
So absolutely.
Yeah,
they just re-released it.
Yeah. This is more of an action-based one, so there's no time or countdowns. Vaffa was talking about active, what was it called?
Yeah, so the active time battle, so essentially real-time battling. So the original Final Fantasy games, it was 100% turn-based, meaning that once an enemy attacked and then it was your turn, you could put your controller down, go grab something to eat and come back and it would still be your turn. But then Square tweaked that formula starting with, I believe, Final Fantasy IV, where they introduced a time gauge. So meaning that you had a certain window of time to select an action, otherwise the enemy or somebody else would essentially cut you in line and then take your turn. So it kind of forced you to stay on your toes and not dally around too much, waste too much time. And that is a formula that's followed through pretty much most of the Final Fantasies since. Obviously, the battle systems have evolved over time, as we can see here. Wow. So, Vince, how would you describe this battle system? Because I haven't played this game. Is it more like does it play more like I don't want to say FPS, but like an action fighting game? Or
I mean, what I do like about it is that you can pretty much mash one button and Cloud still looks pretty cool slashing his sword at the enemies. It's a lot more intense because they're pretty much attacking you at the same time as it is. It's not like the other game where you've got a bit of time to think about what your next moves are. Like as you can see here, I've already got the other guys more or less moving into me.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. That is just phenomenal. They've got like these slowdowns that occur whenever you do something really flash or cool. I'm not really too sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now, actually, but
I do like how Square is giving you the kind of help screens in the margin at the beginning. I think it's really good, especially given that this is a demo as well. So they're anticipating that a lot of people may be playing this for the first time. It's nice that they're kind of like telling you how to get started in case you have no idea what you're doing, which would probably be me because I don't currently own a PS4.
Yeah, I mean, but wow. I just love how fluid it is, you know? Like the overall battle system is just so fluid, and it feels like a long action sequence as you play through. It doesn't feel like just I guess a scripted game, you know? Like, even though I guess
maybe this is just me, but I do think that the color that they're using, the kind of that dark royal blue, matches the PS4 home screen, and I really like that. I find it a very relaxing color, so for me that's a good choice.
Dude, I just want to give a shout out to Barrett, man. I mean, he looks so badass in this game.
You wouldn't want to cross him in an alley.
No. Okay, so you can actually guard in the game by pressing R1 and then press circle to evade. So let's give
defense wins, Vince, remember that.
So the evade's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if... Wow, okay.
Are those vending machines in the corner?
Yeah.
They really thought of everything.
Yeah. So, okay, I was making a mistake. I was actually tapping X in between the fight, and that's what brings up this menu here. So when you can use that to more or less use abilities. Like, that was Braver, which I just enabled. See, I mean, that's a pretty cool finisher, man.
Which, if you watched our previous video, Braver was one of Cloud's original limit breaks.
I mean, that is incredible. Okay. So I just wasn't following instructions properly again, but...
So Vince, tell me, so when you're battling these guys, are you choosing commands in real time right there on the screen?
Yeah, so what basically happens is square is your general attack, and hold on one sec, interacting with the roll. So you can interact with the roll by pressing triangle, and that's how you access the chest and stuff. But square is basically your general attack, and then X brings up your special abilities like skills or other abilities like you saw me use Braver or Thrust. Thrust, Vafa, is Thrust in the original game, do you remember? Or
Thrust? What do you mean?
It's an attack. It seems to be an ability called Thrust. Do you remember?
No, I don't recall any kind of ability called Thrust. There's
he's a professional.
No, there's generally attack. There's magic. There's summon, which is a type of magic ability, and then there's item. Generally, if you want to use an item, or you can run. If you're a wimp like myself and you want to run from battles, there's that option too.
Yeah, so they seem to have a new ability then, if that's the case, which is Thrust, and you can use that. So when you're attacking with square, in the midst of your attack you can press X and that'll bring up a menu, and then you'll be able to use your abilities, skills, items, so forth from there.
And like many modern games today, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I believe, features a full cast of voice actors.
Yeah, I mean, you can really tell there's amazing production quality behind here when you're looking at the game.
I remember even up to a year ago, I remember this game, like, I thought of it again because I hadn't heard anything about it in forever, and I was like, did they cancel this? What happened to Final Fantasy VII Remake? They announced it several years ago, they said it was coming, and now there's been, like, no word of it, and then I was really glad last year when they were like, nope, it is actually coming out.
I mean, you can kind of tell, like, if you compare it to something like Death Stranding, you can kind of tell that the overall graphics aren't as detailed. But I mean, but that being said, this engine was developed many years ago as it is, and they basically tweaked it since then. But just FYI to people wondering, I'm playing this on a PS4 Pro. And basically, this game is not running at not running at 4K. It's only running at 1080p because it's plugged into the Elgato, obviously.
Right.
But that being said, I can't hear anything coming out of my PS4 Pro. So normally when I'm using a game that's very demanding, like God of War, the PS4 Pro sounds like a jet plane. So right now it's pretty quiet, which is good. So at least they've optimized it properly. I did miss some boxes that were here that they were talking about getting, but you know what? Oh, here it is. Here it is. There you go.
It's not the worst thing to have that PS4 running like a jet in the winter, Vince, because for those of you who are in Australia like ourselves, these houses here are definitely built for summer weather, so in the winter, if you don't have like a heater or something around you, you will freeze, because Australian homes are generally not very well insulated.
Oh, dude, they've got dogs, man. Guard dogs.
They got what?
They've got guard dogs.
Oh.
It's actually so cool.
Dogs are always frightening. You can't reason with them.
I gotta use Braver on the dog, or else I'll die again, just like I did last time. The other game.
Sorry, puppy.
Dude, this is actually so cool. Like, I mean, you can actually feel the weight of Cloud's sword. I mean, what made Cloud unique as a character back in the day as well was that he just had this massive sword, and it's like they used to use it on the box art for the original game, and I remember
almost ridiculously big, yeah.
Yeah, like you look at it and you're like, how can he lift it? Like it has a great deal of weight, and then he's like spinning it around with his hand, like his single hand after he wins a victory. But with this game, you can really tell the weight of the sword. Like you can tell when he's hitting down at an enemy that there's some serious or at least appropriate weight towards it. So the physics is great.
And Vince, tell me, does the controller give you some kind of haptic feedback when you get a big impact with a hit?
Yeah, it does. You can feel it. You can actually feel it, and it's not just like a regular rumble. They try and match it to the kind of way in which the sword swings. So they've put a lot of effort into it. I don't know if any of you guys are aware, but they're basically creating HD Rumble for the PS5, similar to what you see with...
I was just going to say that. I was like, I know it's a proprietary Nintendo term, but would you have described it similar to HD Rumble on the Switch?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to kind of talk about what they mean, but it's...
right.
We're not going to know until we really get our hands on it, but from what I've read so far, it's pretty similar to what you see with the Nintendo Switch. So it'll be interesting because I can confidently say that they're probably going to release this game on the PS5 as well. I mean, if they want to make their money back for it, they're going to release it on the PS4 Pro and the PS5. That's if there isn't going to be a patch or something for it for the PS5 when it does come out. So we'll wait and see. But given that this is part one, Vaf, of multiple Final Fantasy
exactly.
games, so...
Sorry, for those viewers who may not be aware, this game is really only the first chapter of the full Final Fantasy VII story.
Yeah.
This game goes from the beginning of the game up until the point in the story where you leave Midgard, if you're familiar with the Final Fantasy VII narrative. But the developers have reassured the fans that the game will play out as a full-length game, but it's just the beginning chapter. So that gets me really excited because I'm wondering how much more of the story are they going to delve into to make this a fully fleshed out game when it's only the first chapter. And I can tell you, Vince, and everybody at home, for anybody who hasn't played this game, the part where you, from the beginning to where you leave Midgar, is really only, I want to say maybe about 10-15% of the original story, if I remember correctly, maybe even less. I mean, quite a bit of the exposition of the story develops there, but I mean, there's just a whole lot more to the story and plot of this game that you don't know about until way later. So the fact that they're able to flesh this out into a full game gets me really excited that maybe the writers and the storytellers have maybe added to the story and maybe made it even more interesting, because part of the appeal of this game is that it has so many interesting characters, Vince. Some of them very complex, some of them really dopey and stupid, and I think it just really adds to the immersion that you feel. And so, playing the original, a lot of times when I'm playing it, I ask myself, I wish they would have developed or fleshed out this guy's story a bit more. Like, I wonder what his backstory is. I wonder what would have happened if they were in more of the game, and maybe we're going to see that now with this title releasing, given that this beginning chapter is a full game in itself. But of course, that begs other questions as well, such as, okay, well, if this is just the first chapter, how many more Final Fantasy VIIs can we expect? And how many generations of consoles is it going to take before they release the full game? I have no idea.
Dude, I seriously hope they get the whole thing out by the time the PS5 is done.
Yeah, I would too. But to be honest, man, if they can flesh out this game from which is originally I'd say like a 40, 50-hour game to like 150, 200 hours. I mean, as ridiculously long as that sounds, I wouldn't complain. I think, you know, fans have waited literally over 2 decades for this remake. I don't think anybody would have any issue with a longer story.
Look, I mean, I guess one of the things we have to just consider is that, like, once the game comes out, once the full retail game comes out, we'll know where it ends. And if it ends, like, at disc 1, then we know that they're probably following the sequence of the discs. But, I mean, if it ends, like, halfway through the entire Final Fantasy game itself, then we know that there's probably just going to be 2 games. I'm kind of scared, to be honest, if it does end at one of the discs. Like, if it goes at, you know, if Final Fantasy Remake ends at disc 1. Only because we don't know what's going to happen, man, between now and 10 years, you know? And
yeah, who knows?
It'd be nice to kind of play the game before anything else crazy happens, which is what's happening right now in the world. So,
yeah, the world is a scary place right now. So, to all of our viewers, we hope you're safe at your homes, staying free of coronavirus, and you know, please look after yourselves and your families. Vince and I hope that maybe our channel can give you guys an escape and some entertainment while we're all, you know, stuck at home. So, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Oh, okay, so Triangle was just enabled by the looks of things, and
okay, nice.
I don't know
so
if
a new ability.
Enabled. Yeah, it seems to be called Punisher mode, so it's heavier hitting. I haven't really noticed if there's a vulnerability in the attack, but he seems to pause after the attack, so maybe that's what the vulnerability is.
And Vince, I know this is a bit late to ask you, but at the very beginning when you started, I saw that the menu gave you a couple options for things. Can you explain what that was?
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, man, I didn't actually look at it properly. I just went straight into the game, so I can't really remember. But I mean, it's the demo of the game, so it probably wouldn't be too much. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think they'd care about the difficulty, more or less. They'll probably just make it, or they've made this game easy enough for you to get through.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't think it does much for your fans if most of them can't even finish the demo version.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm digging these cutscenes, man. I mean, they're just so well made.
Yeah, I mean, the story is already being expanded. I mean, we finished that guard scorpion boss, or we got to it in less than 10 minutes on the original. And I'd say, Vince, how far into this video are we now? We're at least 10-15 minutes in now.
Yeah. I mean,
and we're not even to the boss yet, so
no, not at all.
Definitely a content-heavy game, which is good.
Yeah, we're probably about 15 minutes into the game so far.
Okay. So we are now, I believe, going deeper into the Mako Reactor number 1.
Oh, Vaf, one thing I really like about this remake is that it really feels like you're in a train station right now. Like,
yeah.
You went through all these corridors and these ticketing areas, and like you mentioned before, you saw vending machines. So it really feels like they added a lot more I guess space to the city. You know, it's not just. I remember when we were just playing it, you went straight from like the train station right into the Mako reactor. You know, like,
that's right.
Like a short courtyard, and that was basically it. Dude, Barrett looks pumped.
Scary looking dude.
Yeah.
I just got my hair cut today. I think it looks similar to Barrett's. That wasn't the intention, but it's interesting.
You've got his beard too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not quite as muscular as Barrett is, but yeah.
Dude, I don't think anyone can really be that big, man. This is like,
I don't think I intimidate too many people walking down the street.
This guy looks bigger than Batista, man.
I'd worry less about the planet and more about the next 5 seconds. Save the screaming for later.
I'm really digging just the whole character design, man, for every single
in his face.
Every single model.
But Cloud refuses to back down. Huh. Cloud with the one-liners.
You listening, Merc? False move.
Mako Reactor number 1, utility access.
It also really feels like we're in a Mako Reactor right now, like
yeah, heavily industrial area.
Yeah. You've got shrouds everywhere. I mean, it's still very, very much steampunk, but it just feels more submersive, you know, compared to the original game.
Part of me still just can't believe that this game is coming out. I remember I was in college, like 2005, 2006, and You know, they had just released that game, Dirge of Cerberus, which was kind of like a, I don't want to say sequel, but kind of like a Final Fantasy VII, not even a spin-off, but a sequel of one of the characters from the main game, Vincent Valentine.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, man, wouldn't it be something if they remade this game? Couldn't have imagined it would have happened.
Well, fans were begging for it for so long, man. I mean, it's pretty much a cash cow for Square if they wanted it to be.
You know, I remember there was a time Square's president was like, no, we're not going to remake 7 until we make Final Fantasies that are as good as 7 was. But I think ultimately, as a business, your job is, to some degree, to make money and also to, you know, please your customers. So at some point, I'm glad they made the right decision. Like, hey guys, we literally have people begging us to take their money. Let's make this game.
Dude, this game is just oh man. So you can recharge too. Okay.
Overcharge.
Dude, this game is just awesome, man.
Is that like a limit break?
Look, I'm not really too sure. Maybe I have to hold it. There you go. I have to hold it. That's why. So these are the abilities. So when I press X, I can basically access the abilities, and I can choose different ones. So he's got focus shot, and he's got steel skin right now. So okay, so steel skin probably just makes me stronger. I already did focus shot. That was that big bang that you kind of saw, which I guess is a callback to his previous limit break. All right, so pressing left and right will let you switch characters.
So do you switch between the? Oh, that's something. Because in the original game, what happens is most of the time, the other character sprites aren't visible on screen. You know, Japanese RPGs back in the day would do this thing that's kind of accepted now, where all the other characters might stand next to each other during a cutscene, or not during a cutscene, but like when they're all speaking to each other, like a scene of dialogue. And when it's over, they'll all kind of walk back into the main character. So you only have one like sprite on the screen, but I guess it's implied or accepted that all those characters are with you, they're just not visible on the screen. So it was probably for memory constraints or for whatever reason, they would rarely show all of the character sprites on the screen. But now, not only do you see all of them, but you can switch between them, which is really cool. But I guess that makes sense, because in the remake, you're not switching between an overworld and a battle screen. It's all happening on one screen.
Yeah. It's pretty fluid. Like it's not difficult to switch between characters and continue on with a combo, continue on with an attack. So I think they've done a good job with that. To be honest, I'm not that impressed with the graphics.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's probably asking too much, but it could also just be because it's going through my capture device. Maybe when I put it on my TV and I've got the HDR effect going, it'll be a lot different. I could just be used to HDR, I guess.
Fair enough. Look, I can't really comment because I'm viewing it through an iPad FaceTime camera, but I imagine if, you know, obviously we know what the PS4 Pro's capabilities are. I imagine if you, and I know you've got a 4K TV in your room, I imagine if you hook it up to there, you may have a different opinion.
Yeah. Look,
we are viewing this game on an iMac currently.
Yeah, exactly. Look, whoa. Just ran through a laser there. Look, I have to admit, I'm enjoying it. I think it's great. I don't think I've ever experienced a game like this so far, but it could also be because it's just so close to home, you know? Like, there's a lot of memories for everyone when it comes to Final Fantasy VII in general, so being able to see these characters again and live their story and you know, go through that adventure is just, it's a good callback.
And Vince, I believe you pre-ordered the limited or the collector's edition of this game. Is that right?
Yeah, man. I was actually really lucky because initially it was sold out, and I was pretty cut because I tried to collect all the steelbooks for Final Fantasy, and Cloud's about to die, so I'll see if I can get him a potion.
But Vince is living proof that persistence pays off, and you will manage to get one.
Yeah, I mean, I just kept on calling EV Games until they were willing to cave and release some of their pre-orders for me. I am trying to figure out how to open the maps, how to open the menu so I can actually give Cloud. Dude, I have no idea how to do this. I need to give Cloud a potion. Maybe it's. Oh, okay, there you go. Yes, I've got 21 potions, thank goodness.
Hey, use them.
How? How do you use them? I can just hear my PS4 Pro going off, so maybe it's starting to get demanding already.
It is a graphic intense game, obviously. It's brand new.
Dude, I have no idea how to actually like give myself a potion.
What's wrong?
I need to give myself a potion. Like I don't have one. I'm about to die.
Oh, no.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. If I end up dying, then no. Hopefully I can get to one at some point. Alright, dude, so we actually got to this point in about 12 minutes when we were playing the original Final Fantasy.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that we got there much later with this one, so you know it's definitely a more beefier game. Again, I am just trying to figure out how to give myself a potion. Check your items. Yeah, dude, I can't for the life of me figure this out.
That's alright. Obviously, there's a bit of a learning curve with any game, especially one as complex as a Final Fantasy game.
Well, look, oh, dude, it's already started, man. The battle's already gone on.
The guard scorpion waits for no one.
You go for Braver right away. Oh, he's dead. Alright, Barrett, you do your thing, dude. Come on. Come on, Barrett.
Guys, are we gonna have a repeat of what happened to Vince in the last video?
For those of you that don't know, I ended up dying against this boss in Final Fantasy VII itself, so the original.
Friends, let me explain to you how this happened. A banner appears on the screen that literally says, "Do not shoot when tail is up." Vince proceeds to shoot when tail is up. Game over.
Not only that, I ended up pulling off limit breaks on the tail is up.
And no, he didn't just make the mistake once. I told him Vince though, and he goes, "Okay, he messed up once." I said, "No worries, you'll live." And he proceeds to do it 3 more times and dies.
Alright guys, I've done the thunder attack. Just to see what it looks like.
Now Vince, tell me, does the Final Fantasy VII on PS4 have the quality of life enhancements like 3 times speed mode, unlimited power mode, and the no battles mode? Not the remake, but the original.
Look, I haven't noticed the no battles mode. Are you talking about the original 1997?
Yeah, sorry, I know we're playing the remake now, but I just thought I'd ask because I know the Switch version has the enhancements.
Look, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure whether or not it does. Are you aware?
Not the PS4 version, but I guess that's easily Googled and found.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I would guess so. That being said, I know that there were certain improvements that were made on the Xbox One version of Final Fantasy XII, which found its way into Final Fantasy XII on the Switch, but I don't know whether or not that was there for the PS4 version. They probably did update it at some point and added it in. So, alright guys, hopefully this will be enough for me to beat this guy. Cloud is down and out for the count for the time being. I'm relying on Barrett to win the fight.
You can't revive him?
I don't know how to revive him, dude. I don't know how to turn on some of the...
You need a Phoenix down.
Oh, you can take
That's what you normally need in a Final Fantasy game if you have a downed character. Potions will only work on people that are still alive.
Oh, dude, there is a Phoenix down. You're right. There you go. And I just gave it to Cloud. Now let me just give him a potion as well.
Glad I'm here.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Happy to help. I'm not just a pretty face.
So I can't actually use it right now, but Cloud is back in the fight, man, and he's wailing the living hell out of this guy from behind.